Oh man. Welcome everybody to another episode of Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. And you know what I'm saying, today we're gonna have a blast, man. I just got done talking to my man, and he's been WCW, he's written a book. This man he's done some pretty freaking amazing things, all right. You know what I'm saying? But he has an amazing story too. I've been on this podcast. You guys are in for a special treat. Now, before we start, I just want to let you know that this is for entertainment purposes only. So whatever, if you guys are struggling right now, please seek professional help. Do not take what we say as as the end all thing. Explore your options. Now, if it's your first time tuning in, do me a favor. Go to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, and while we're doing it, ask questions, right? You know what I'm saying? And do me a favor, if you know anybody that can benefit from these conversations that we're having, please share this with them. Now, without further ado, I'm about to bring on my next guest, Mark Smith, and you guys sit back, have fun, be prepared to laugh, be prepared to go on this journey, and by all means, thank you guys for your support.
There he is, my brother from another mother. Hey, brother.
See, you already started off, man. You already started off, right?
Well, you and I are twins, except I have hair.
You know what? You'll stop talking about me not having hair already. No,
mine's
man.
leaving my head and growing on my back anyway, so it's
That's
okay.
Right. Look, mine didn't even grow on my back, so I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? I just stopped growing hair. The hair fell out. I was like, nope, no more. This is what we're doing. Right? You know what I'm saying? Brother, thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for coming in and wanting to share your journey with us. You've had an amazing life, brother. You know what I'm saying? So before we get started, man, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell people where you're from.
Sure. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, or just a little south of Atlanta, Georgia. Some people would say I'm an old cracker. That's what they used to call us, Georgia Crackers. And there was actually a baseball team, the Georgia Crackers, back years and years ago before the Braves ever came to Atlanta.
Okay.
But I'm from that area. As we'll get into later, it was, I guess what people would say was the typical Southern town. I was born in 1966, so in the 1970s, the racial stuff was going on. I was seeing things that now my skin just crawls, if it makes sense.
Yes.
I can imagine people being so mean to one another. But then again, as we get into today's society, people are still mean, brother. They need Jesus. They need something, sure enough.
They definitely need something, you know. And I'm right there with you, man. You know, I grew up in the 70s. I'm a 70s baby, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were children, you know, like, we really didn't have a whole lot of racial divide, you know, even though it was there. You know what I'm saying? Because I come from the Gen X generation, and you know what I'm saying? It's either, you know, we was one of two ways. We either liked you or we didn't. If we didn't like you, go fuck off somewhere, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We stayed with the people that we did. But everybody, for the most part, we got along as children, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were feral kids, man. You know this. You know what I'm saying? We the latchkey kids, man. We was out there. We was playing in the streets with everyone, you know. And if we didn't like anyone, it was usually because they were an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a shame because coming from the South and during that time period, it was a fact of sometimes not liking people just for the fact that they're different.
Yeah.
Then now in today's time, people are shooting one another. And why? Because they're a little different.
Yeah.
Who matters? I mean, God made us all. We're different, man. We're different. And you and I, even though we look so different, we're probably more alike than me and most Caucasians. You get what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's because our hearts, man. It's because of love. It's because of caring for one another. And it's because of wanting to see the good in people before you even care. And me, I don't want to see the bad in people. Unfortunately, for some people, it's like, the flickering sign on Radio City Music Hall.
Right,
They
right.
it's just the meanness, just you can see it from a mile away.
Well, for some people, it's like an addiction, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, there's some people, and I heard this quote. There are some people that will develop in the dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There's people out there that would develop in the dark, man,
Well,
and it's like a heroin addiction. They need that drama. They need that negativity to validate their own lack of self worth, right?
well, you know what? You're actually pretty much summarizing the life of a woman in Florida who was put to death for murder.
Oh, geez.
I'm Eileen Warnos back years ago. Eileen Warnos was raised in the dark. She was abused. All this kind of stuff happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was killing her Johns.
Oh, she was the female serial killer, wasn't she?
Yes,
I
along the Florida
remember her.
highways. Yes, and
Yeah.
see, she was saying the thing. She had told the things that was being done to her. She was raised in the dark, and looking at some of her psychological profile and so forth, you can see that though she really did not have skills for a vocation or anything like that, so she went into prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
When it got to the point to where something was about to happen, she had to take that power back, and she did it through murder.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, you actually summarized her psychological profile.
Wow, man. And honestly, summarizing her profile, when I was speaking it, I was actually thinking about previous serial killers, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dahmer, Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, all of these
Right.
different people that came around. But it also, what it did, in another aspect, I was thinking about the movie. Remember the movie The Hitchhiker?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't remember that thriller, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The guy was on the highway. That's all he did. He hitchhiked, and then, you know what I'm saying? As he's going into these different towns, he's killing people, leaving them across the highway. People don't understand that's actually based on the true story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the psychological aspect of it, you know what I'm saying? That's why I started thinking. I didn't even think about the lady who was going around doing that. But when you said it, I was like, I remember reading about that.
Yeah, the movie
Right?
Monster. Remember the movie
Yeah,
Monster?
yeah. That was based on her, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was based on her. And Tony, what really, I mean, the kind of power we're talking about, people are that way in different degrees.
Yes, they are.
Because a dad may not be killing, but when a father or mother, either one, an aunt or uncle, whoever the case may be, a teacher, whenever they're getting off basically on that power of manipulating a child or their child or anything else, even though it's not a brazen killing, it somewhat kills the self-esteem of the victim. So that happens. There, I love grief. Let's talk about it. That right there, because there's so many kinds of grief.
Yes, there is.
There's so many kinds of guilt. And one thing that I'm learning through the process of writing the book and the interviews that I'm doing is I'm seeing that people need healing so badly.
Yes.
And when you and I talked the first time, our introduction to one another, we were kind of brainstorming, why is society the way it is? Why do people have to pull someone out of a car and beat them to death? I mean, and it's white, black, purple, yellow, whatever. I mean, it's not one race that's doing it. It's
Yeah, it's a
everybody.
multitude. Yeah, it's a multitude of them. Ain't that about nothing?
And what I don't get is you've got people, and just because he's a famous actor, I'm going to use him, but I'm in no way trying to profile a race or anything like that. Okay.
Right.
But with the world, with our society in such torment and the pain, what Smollett did as far as
Yeah.
creating drama that didn't even have to be created. Isn't the world bad enough that we don't have to make things up? And
Well,
that goes for anybody.
I was just going to say that can go for anyone, man.
Yes.
I was just put in a situation where that same exact thing just happened. But luckily, I've been around the block a few times that I recognized what was going on, right? You know what I'm saying? I had to ask the individual, why are you creating dramatic scenarios that does not exist? And then now, since they don't exist, except for in your own mind, why are you putting it out into the world and making everyone else deal with this dramatic scenario when it doesn't have to be that way?
Everybody's got a purpose. I'm talking about with what they're doing. Everybody has a purpose. It could be in the subconscious. It could be, like I said, just outward and brazen, whatever the case is. There's a reason that God did that. There's a reason that today people are getting beaten on the streets and they don't deserve to be.
Right.
People are dying that don't need to be dying. And my heart breaks for that. And, when we get a little bit deeper as far as my own grief, my own trauma, and I'm going to tell you, I did not know I was creating it, but I was creating it.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, man, because I think we talk about how other people do it, but we both understand, like what you just said right there. I felt that in my heart because I didn't understand it either. Right. So let's dive into it. You know what I'm saying? Let's dive into your story because it's going to help bring everything together when people listen to it and things like that.
Yeah. Well, my mom and dad got divorced after 30 years. We had a home that if you were to lift up a picture frame, there was a fist hole through the paneling or whatever the wall was. I've been hit with fist. I remember the last time my dad hit me, it scared the what out of him when I didn't go down because he realized, Mark can take it.
Right.
My mom was a stabilizer, bless her heart. She married my dad when she was 13 so that she could work to help her parents. I mean, none of us are saints. My mom's not a saint, but my mom, I can tell you, when she says she did the best she could, she really did, bless her heart.
Right.
And her heart's still pumping today, and I'm glad of that.
All right.
My father has passed away. I know how the stress in a household can break you down. I was scared every night when he drove in the tow truck into the yard. I knew if he had a bad day or somebody ticked him off, he would probably take it out on us. I would break into sweats when I heard that engine. I knew the sound of that engine. I could tell it from down the road. But it scared the living out of me because the worst thing to me is the unknown.
Yes.
And asking, am I about to get it or what? And that's the way I was. I ended up sleeping with a silver Louisville Slugger softball bat. And it had ended up growing to a point where, as I was getting older, if he'd have walked in and tried to beat me again, I'd have killed him.
I understand.
Now, to say that, I'll tell you, I learned some great lessons. And I got to tell you, for me, it was divine intervention. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be straight up with you. What I learned was even from the people that do us wrong, at least they taught us what we shouldn't do.
Very true. Very, very true.
So, in other words, there's a sense of appreciation. At the same point, I wouldn't wish it on my enemy.
Right. Yeah.
When he passed away, a brother of mine and myself got out and we dug his grave because it was hard for machinery to get in there to the plot.
Okay.
We actually, I remember the first shovel of dirt that I put on his casket.
Mm.
And that tormented me because after all he had done and the way I felt about him, I still felt like I had done something bad to him by putting that dirt on him. Wow. It tormented me for months. But then, Tony, this is what happened. This is part of that divine intervention. It was like an internal voice came to me. You know how that happens sometimes, and you kind of get a revelation, an epiphany.
Yeah.
It said, Mark. Yeah. It said, Mark, you did not do anything bad to him. Burying him was the last act of love you could do for him to make sure that he was taken care of.
Right.
And that relieved me of that.
Okay. Okay.
But I had tried out for the Atlanta Braves in Durham, North Carolina. Rod Gilbreth, back in the 70s, was second baseman for the Atlanta Braves. He became one of the head scouts. He tried me out. It was in the same stadium that the Kevin Costner movie Bull Durham was filmed in.
Okay.
And just like the movie, this is no joke, the water fountain in the dugout did not work. I'm telling you, it was hot it was a hot North Carolina day, Bubba.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Anyway, I go out there. He likes it. I actually pitch a scrimmage game against some guys that were down rehabbing from the Braves. Terry Harper was one. There were several of them. And I did fairly well. I pitched 3 or 4 innings. I think I gave up 1 run, couple hits, walked 1, struck out 2 or 3. I did okay. You know, I'm roundabout. That's as close to the stats as I can remember. Okay. But I did all right. So they call me. And all these scouts from the different teams, they share information. Cubs called me, Pirates called me, and the Padres. There were 4 teams. I was invited to spring training. And my stepdad at the time, I've had 2 stepdads. Both of them were good men, but the first one had a terrible addiction problem. He was taking 25 to 30 Percodan and Percocet a day.
Holy shoot, man.
He topped it off with wine one night. He drank an entire bottle of red wine, I believe it was. And he lunged at me and I put him down on his back. My hand went through past this into the carpeted floor. And there was damage.
Yeah.
About 2-3 weeks later, I was hit in a car accident. My hand went through the dash. I was broadsided. Kid drinking a Coca-Cola from McDonald's and a Ford LTD, and I was driving a Chevy Chevette. I lost.
Wow.
And so I ended up going to the doctor, and they couldn't do surgery. My career was over. I was PO'd at the world, PO'd at everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I was mad at God, thought I'd been robbed, did not know why, but I had been robbed. And a gentleman that worked for Vince McMahon in New York. He was the head booker for him. His name was Joe Scarpa. That's his real name. He wrestled as Chief Jay Strongbow.
Mm-hmm.
His son, Mark Scarpa, and Mark Smith always sat beside or behind or in each other in class, because they'd alphabetize you. Well, Mark came by one day and said, my dad's work. I said, where you been, boy? He said, I just got back from Portland. What are you doing in Portland?
Right.
He said, I'm working for Don Owens up there. I think the guy's name was Owens. He was a booker, paid real well. He was a fair man from what I understand. He said, yeah, I've been working up there and going over pretty good. And I just thought I'd come home and see Mom and Daddy for a few days. I had a few days off. I said, all right. He said, these U-Haul trailers and stuff you're picking up, why don't you come out to the woods with me later on today when you get off? I said, woods? What do you want to do, Mark? He said, just come on with me. I said, all right. Can you come on up at 6 o'clock when we close the door and I'll go with you? He said, yeah. Walked in the middle of the woods, just sitting in an 18 by 18 wrestling ring. I mean, I don't know if it'd been set up because squirrels were mad at each other and that's where they were going to fight it out. I don't know. To this day, I don't know why that ring was in those woods. I mean, seriously.
It sounded like they was doing some backyard wrestling on you, man.
That was backwoods stuff. Anyhow, so I'm sure I had some choice words for him. I said, what in the world have you got this thing out here for? He said, well, I just thought I'd stay loose, and this is so-and-so's ring. He said, let's get in. And he started calling some moves, and I was doing some moves, and he was showing me how to tweak it a little bit. He said, Mark, you need to get in this business. Well, brother of mine took me to a used car dealer. The guy used to be the manager of the Masked Medics.
Okay.
So he said, so you want to wrestle? He kind of chuckled. He's your stereotypical guy that looked like Scrooge, walked with a limp, used a cane, gray hair, and he looked at you with real hollow eyes.
Mm.
He said, so you want to wrestle? Let me make a phone call. He calls a guy named Art Pritz. Art gets me on the phone and says, Mark, meet me at the rec department. You want to meet me tomorrow? Yeah, 4 o'clock. Okay, sure. Go out there. And I'm thinking, I'm going to be doing some high-tech training. This is what he does. A 1-inch Olympic-style wrestling mat. Mm-hmm. He picks it up, throws it on a concrete floor. He said, let's start working. I trained for 4 months on a concrete floor.
Wow.
Shoot. I was spitting gravel the way I was hitting that floor, man. Gravel dust coming out. My big butt hitting that thing.
Oh my God.
I mean, some people's mouths dry as dust or sawdust. Mine was as dry as gravel.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway, my nickname was Cement. And so it was just me and him for months.
What's wrong with you?
I mean, really, they could have called me Quickcrete. That ought to have been my name. But anyway, so myself, Quickcrete, was in there with Art and everything. And finally, Art says, all right, let's go to a ring. And I'm expecting a hard ring. And the ring's pretty doggone hard.
Right.
But it at least gives a little.
Depending.
Exactly. I've wrestled in a kickboxing ring. They don't give.
No, at all.
And so I'm there, and I end up getting in matches. I start working with the hood on, and I take the hood off and start working small towns. And back then, it wasn't none of this that you're going to go to WWE and get a tryout.
Right.
No, you go out there and work for $20, get yourself half killed.
Mm.
And if you're good, the promoter is going to want to work against you because he knows you won't kill him. But some of those promoters didn't know how to wrestle, so they were trying not to kill you, but they were killing you.
Mm.
And that is paying your dues, and that's what the boys today don't hardly do. Those shows. Somebody asked me in an interview about 4 days ago, what do you think about those shows that used to be on TV, the Tough Enough, where you try out for the WWE? I said, I hate them. You ought to get out there and pay your dues. You know, part of society today. It's so sad. Some people don't think you have to work for anything.
Very true. Very, very true.
And if there's a shortcut, shortcuts are not always the best cuts.
Hmm.
So I learned how to work very well. I got a call one day from a gentleman who used to be one of the old assassins, Joe Hamilton.
Oh, wow.
He said, Mark.
Wow.
He said, Mark, I'd like you to be in Cleveland tonight. Cleveland, Georgia is about 2 hours north of where I live. I said, okay, Mr. Joe, I can be up there. I can leave here at what time do you want me up there? He said, well, I need you to check in at 5:30. I said, well, I'll leave here at 3:30. And it was like noon. He said, Mark, at 5:30, you're going to be landing in Cleveland Municipal Airport. I need you to come up to CNN Center right now with a packed bag. Expect about a 3-4 day run. And come to CNN Center, pick up your airplane tickets. You got an hour to catch your airplane. So I think my rear end was halfway to Atlanta, and I was still holding on to the phone. That's how fast I was moving. I mean, I was like Stretch Armstrong. My rear end was on I-75, and I was saying bye to him. So anyway, I get up there, and I walk in. Oh, my gosh, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Dr. Death Steve Williams, Ron Simmons, Sid Vicious, Flair, Wahoo McDaniel, Hacksaw Butch Reed. Man, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And I just remember I got to find a bathroom because I wasn't sure which end it was coming out of, but I was going to lose something. I was so scared in that dressing room.
Right, right.
So anyhow, go work. And then I'm married for 3 years at that point. I walk in, and let me tell you, Tony, and this is a warning to everybody out there. Never forget who you really are. Mm. Always stay to your roots. Remember where you came from. Because you can't know where you're going unless you understand where you came from. True and you got to be true to yourself. Wrestlers call me today, or people training, give me some advice. I said, always, you're a guy who wrestles. Do not call yourself the wrestler. You're a man that wrestles simply as a vocation. Mm-hmm. Don't take yourself so seriously. Mm-hmm. Do a good job. It's business. Enjoy the ride. But the moment you think you're top snot, you're going to find yourself in a ditch somewhere. Because somebody's going to throw you out on your ear.
Right. I love that, man. Wow. I mean, I'm listening to you talk, man, and bring up those names, and you know, Jake the Snake Roberts, man.
Yeah,
I was a wrestling fanatic when I was younger, right? My uncle Frank, he was in the military, but when he wasn't on deployment, man, that's all they did. Saturday, Sunday night, you know what I'm saying? Every night there was wrestling, we was sitting in front of the TV with him, right? You know what I'm saying? He'd sit back with his little glass of ice cognac and everything, you know what I'm saying? And man, you talking about if he was there in the rings with y'all and everything, he would have been fighting with y'all. Man, I can't believe he just did that. He was into it. He would have been fighting with y'all. I'm telling you, talking smack the whole nine, man. But I just remember watching those guys. A really good childhood memory of mine was sitting around doing that.
Well, see, for me, the type of memories that I have, I only got to work with him one time, and he died too early. It was drugs. I wrestled Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert one time.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Sit around talking with the Iron Sheik. We traveled together. Sit around and talk with Abdullah, the butcher.
Yeah.
Abby. Yeah. Junkyard Dog was a good friend. Sylvester, bless his heart. Eating hot dogs with the Road Warriors before they go to the match. Yeah.
Dude, I used to draw them when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hawk, Jim. I mean, Mike, he'd go, "Hey, Mark, you want a dog?" Sure. And he'd find one of the ushers or some security. "Hey, go get us a dozen dogs. Tell them it's for Hawk." So they go bring it in. "Thanks, brother." So Joe would have one animal. He'd have one or two. I'd have one or two. But gosh, Hawk ate them like they were going out of style. But, you know, those memories, those are the kind of memories. The memory of a small child. He was, I think, about 6, 7 years old. Mm-hmm. He had had at least three kidney transplants. Wow. He looked like he was 4. Dallas Police Department calls me. I'm living in East Texas, about 2.5 hours away. And they say, "Mark, there's a little boy dying. Will you come see him?" I said, "Yeah." So I go to the matches to see my friends at Saturday night. I'm going like on Monday or Tuesday, wanting to go see him. And some of them say, "Here, take on my sweatbands," and they'd sign it. "Here, take on my mask," and they'd sign it. When I drove in that parking lot of that children's hospital, I finally remember. I remember. I knew who I was at that point. I knew who I was. Yeah. I was a guy that had been blessed, and it was my time to pay it forward. And nothing humbles you than walking into a room, a hospital room, and the mother coming and hugging you, and she speaks half Spanish, half English, and you can hear her say, "Thank you. My son really sick." And you go to the bed and you have a equipment bag and you start pulling everything out and you see this kid's eyes. He lights up. And you tell him, "Here, you want to give me a chop?" "Yes. Yes. Give it to me." "Oh, gosh, you're good. Oh, my gosh, you're good." Whoa. "Kid, have you wrestled before?" No, sir." Man, that was like Ric Flair. My gosh, son. You're good. You're tough. You know, I heard it's been kind of hard on you. Are you okay? I hurt some time. Tony, that makes you remember where you came from. That makes you remember where you're going. And what I did not know when I was wrestling, I wasn't the wrestler Mark Smith or Mark Smith the wrestler. I was simply a guy. I should have known that I was Mark Smith, just a simple country boy who wrestled. And see, to the audience, sometimes we lose these priorities. The worst thing we can do is believe what the world tells us sometimes.
That's very true. Wow.
You know, between that tells you I have a soft spot for children.
Yeah.
But when I was married 3 years to that young lady, I put her through a living hell. I did. I damaged her. I was conceited. I was a jerk. Total jackass from the word go. She told me she was leaving. And I found a positive pregnancy test in a trash can. She never talked to me again, but I continued to call her home, and an aunt picked up the phone, and one day she said, "Mark, everything's been taken care of." She wouldn't give me no other details. So even till today, there's a chance that I feel like I'm the cause for a baby's death. And how can somebody go from there into writing the book? Oh, I cried I wrote the book in 2 weeks, and I cried the entire time.
Wow.
And this is what's strange is I asked God, please don't ever let me forget any of that. Because I never want to make the same mistake twice. No matter where we have come from, take that with us. And I just got to say to the audience, for me, you know, I'm not on here trying to slap anybody in the face with a Bible or anything. You understand what I mean? I'm not trying to do that. This is my story. But for me, I was in such a deep hole that, look, it could only been one thing to get me out of it. A big old hand reached down and pulled me out of it. Man. And you know what? I find it very comforting and very real. And I'm glad there's something bigger than me.
Ain't that the truth?
All the people, and I hope thousands listen to this. I do. For nothing else but to hear, look, there's something bigger. It can help you. You can reach new heights. You were a victim yesterday. That doesn't mean you have to be a victim today.
Very true.
And like some people have the catchphrase, you can turn from being a victim into a victor.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because now, you know, growing up, and I was telling you the KKK and that a racial part being in Georgia. Yeah. Today, we have adopted 5 kids. We have 3 biological. We have African-American child. We have 2 Hispanic children. We have Native American Indian, 1 Caucasian we've adopted, and then our 3. And the one thing I did was Jamarcus, who wanted to change his name to Jefferson. And he wanted to take my name, Mark, as his middle name. I said, son, if that's what you want to do, okay.
Yeah.
I just want you to be a better person than I was, that I've been. And after we were adopted, he said, you're going to be able to see like in the dark like I can. I said, what? He said, yeah, I can see in the dark. I'm black. I said, I said, well, I guess I can now too, huh? I'm a honorary black, okay? I mean, look.
I would have never came. I would have never thought about that.
And no kidding, this is no joke. He tells me, he says, Daddy, you cook some of the best greens and you cook some of the best beans and ham hock I've ever had. So yeah, I must be part, okay? Hey, I'll claim it, baby. I'll claim it.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Because, you know, his hair may feel a little different.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's all it is hair.
That's true.
He's my boy.
Yeah.
He's my boy.
It's what's in your heart.
That's right.
It's what's in your heart.
And the world today is going to say, oh, they're different. Be afraid. Be afraid. Attack them before they attack you.
You already know that, brother. You already know that.
And the thing is, the book, when I wrote wrestling with demons, it's because it's these kind of inner demons, those voices that prey on how vulnerable we are. They prey on our fears. They try to tear us up from the inside out. But the thing is, we can win against those inner demons.
Right. Well, the thing is, you know what I'm saying? And let me know if I'm on the right path with this. But it's something that I put together, right? You know what I'm saying? And I love that you said the inner demons, because I think we've all had to wrestle with that inner demons, right?
Mm-hmm.
We, you know what I'm saying? And just a scenario. I was just talking with someone about this very thing. They were asking me about, you know, how did I do it? I said, you know, when I started the healing process of the losses, things like that, it was like I was fast tracked. And the reason why I say that is because it was as if life had took me back to a place to where I had to fight my demons. But you know what I'm saying? And I described the fight like this, right? Because I did not understand what that demon was. I did not understand it. I thought it was this supernatural entity that, you know what I'm saying, that was going to take me. And I told it, if you're going to take me, we're going to have to fight it out. Mm-hmm. So what I came to realize, you know what I'm saying, during the times where it knocked me down on my knees, you know what I'm saying, and I'm fighting with everything that I have, but it seems like nothing else is working. You know what I'm saying? I am tired. I am worn down. I'm on one knee, you know what I'm saying, still huffing and puffing and throwing it and things like that. And I just, you know what I'm saying, the image that I had in my head as I was down for the count, I'm about ready to tap out. I'm done. When the demon turned around and smiled at me, you know what I'm saying, it cocked out his eyes at me and I saw the look in his eyes. Then it dawned on me, that's you. That's me. That is me. Holy crap. I am fighting. That's why it's not working. I am fighting a battle that this thing is used to. So now I have to switch it around, right? And I had to start to play chess with myself. How do you play chess with yourself when you're the one that know every move that you're going to make? Now, here's the key to it. You're fighting your own demons. Now you have to disassociate yourself from the past and the future. Right? Because your demons that you fight are in your past. They don't know what's going on in the future. Only you do, only thing that you do. So now you have to disassociate yourself. Now let's fight. Right? And that's where I began to get the upper hand. And I remember, you know what I'm saying, when I stood up and I'm looking at my past self, and my past self turned around like, holy shit, you know, this is going. And I'm like, no, come on back. I got my second win. You may have I may be battered, beaten, bloody. It does not matter. You do not walk away from this because I cannot move forward with you hanging on to the part of me that I need the most to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hurt. I'm tired. I'm you know what I'm saying? I just need a way out of this thing. Don't know how. But this right here, I'm going to do this before I move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, and that's what I mean about that inner,
Yeah.
at least for me, that's what I mean about that inner demon. And
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing that, now, I don't know if you ever have, I've seen someone demon possessed.
Mm.
And I'm talking about they had a normal voice and it went down to a gravelly. They had a smell of sulfur.
Mm. Ooh, wee. Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm.
If I was to put this in a wrestling analogy, you know how when a bad guy gets beaten in the ring, he's always blaming the referee?
Yeah.
You kind of too fast or something.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I've learned is one of the major faults we have is and think about this. This is so crazy. You've got good and evil in the world, right?
Yeah.
You got good and evil. Why is it when anything bad happens, people blame God?
Because it's easier than blaming other people.
It's easier, and and what's crazy is this: you'll see people that have never prayed before in their life finally say, "Oh God, why did you do this?" Well, I mean, so many people trying, and I've done it too, trying to play the blame game with God. You remember Jim Cornette, the manager, Jim Cornette?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say God's the referee. You're wrestling some bad, evil dude. Let's say it's that inner demon.
Yeah.
You're getting the best of him. Jim Cornette comes and gets your attention. He gets up on the side of the ring, gets your attention. So, like you've seen in a million wrestling matches, you get off your opponent, you go, you get his attention. As soon as you get your hands on him, your opponent comes and hits you and knocks you out. Right? Mankind has this crazy thing of instead of saying, okay, I'm really fighting some evil stuff here. And evil is getting my attention. They're teaming up on me. Evil is just teaming up on me, just like you said, wearing you down.
Mm-hmm.
And yet when you get pinned, you don't think about how you gave all your attention to the evil.
This is very
you
true.
Turn around and look at God, the referee, and go, why did you do this? Why did you do it? Hey, God's there going, hey, buddy, I'll let you have the choice. You chose where you were going to go.
Exactly.
So, I look at it this way. I didn't realize this back when I was wrestling, but now I'm in a partnership. And this is what's crazy. I'm in a tag team partnership for the good.
Yes.
And the thing is it's crazy because my partner is God, and he says he's going to win the battle. He's going to take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's going to happen, I'm in a tag team match against evil. I got a partner that says, hey, we've already won. All you got to do is tag me. Let me go in there. I'm going to take care of it all. I'm going to let you have peace. I'm going to let you have joy. And you know what, Tony? If people had peace, if more people had peace and more people had joy, they would be too busy enjoying life instead of trying to beat the snot out of every other person they see.
Well, I think that's the difference, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You and I both recognize peace.
Yes.
You and I both recognize. Now, listen to what I'm saying. The key word is recognize. So when you can recognize peace and you can recognize joy, what does that tell you? You've been through the chaos. You made a choice and said, I don't want this over here. And you begin to take the necessary steps to incorporate that peace in there. And now that you have it, you do whatever needs to be done to protect it, because now you know what it feels inside to be joyful and be peaceful in this world. Some people, a lot of people, and I'm not criticizing nobody because we've all been there.
No,
So
and I'm not either. I'm
yeah,
just
I'm not being a hypocrite.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
ever want to be a hypocrite. I'm just saying
Right.
I've walked this path before. But some people get so wrapped into the chaos and they don't understand that the fight that they're in, there's another side to it, because only thing they know is hurt and pain. And as we both know, hurt people hurt people. They so used to getting screwed over. They so used to having trauma inflicted in their life that this becomes a norm. If it's not happening, oh my God, what did I do wrong? Because when things start to go right, they so used to bad things happening, they don't recognize that this thing right here is the other side of it. They got to go back. They have to create the drama. They have to create the chaos because they don't know what peace feels like. They don't know, you know what I'm saying? They've gone through so many heartbreaks that they don't know what joy feels like. They don't know, you know what I'm saying? They've been told that they've been stupid their whole entire life, that when somebody says, I love you, they think that you're setting them up to hurt them. So they're already on the defense. That's the problem. It's easy to be a victim than it is to be a victor, because if I'm a victim, I can always go, see, this is the reason why I am the way that I am. You dig what I'm saying?
Oh man, preach on, man.
You dig what I'm saying? But that's the truth. Though. If because we've all been there. If I can say that I'm a victim and I can still play the victim role, then I have an excuse to hurt you before you hurt me. That's the truth, man. A lot of people are so wrapped into that they don't understand that they can switch this thing around. But that's the reason why we have these conversations too.
And you know, me and you, Tony, first time we talked, I said, I'm looking for somebody. I feel like we gotta take some of this stuff to the streets, man.
Oh man, we doing it. We gonna do it. We got a lot of things coming up, but we'll talk after we get off live. We don't want to put the surprises out there.
All right,
we got a lot to talk about, right? Got a lot of things coming up, brother. So what you just said right there, keep that thought. You know what I'm saying? And after we get done, we'll talk about it. We'll lay this thing out. And like I said, you know what I'm saying? The rest of it is just putting in the work and seeing where we go from there, brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. It's time to give people a voice and give people hope in this world.
Oh, by all means.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we can't do it alone. But you know what I'm saying? It's time to put together a team and make some noise out here in this world and say, hey, no more. These stories that you see us sharing and things like that, it can be your story too. Or better yet, your story can turn out a lot better than mine.
Well, I can tell you and this is to the audience. The first time I talked with Tony, number one, I knew he was the real deal without a doubt. So Tony, I love you and I compliment you, man. You're my brother. You're the real deal. Also, if you notice, audience, that Tony and I are talking, yes, different backgrounds. We look different. By everything society tells us today, he and I ought to be arguing. If we were to follow what society says,
yes,
we should be arguing. We should be tearing each other down instead of building each other up.
Yeah.
The thing about Tony and I want you guys to hear, is that you don't have to know somebody a long time to know that you can really trust them. What you have to do, and I hope you've been able to see our expressions in how we communicate.
Yeah.
That there's love.
Yeah.
And each of you out there, look, the same love that we have is the same love that if you don't feel it, you can have it as well. Please talk to Tony about it. Send him messages. I'll give you my email address. Send me an email. Hey man, I'll pray for you every night.
Yeah.
You'll be feeling like you're haunted. I'll be praying for you so much. Woo! No, I'm kidding.
Hey man, I love it though, man. I love it though, because one thing that we always realize in this world is that we can't do this thing alone.
No.
When you do it alone, you tend to lose hope along the way,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know what I'm saying? You tend to give up. I know. I've been there.
And grief is real.
Grief is definitely real.
Grief is real. And we believe me, we all go through our steps of grief. Friday night, my mom called me. She said, Mark, I'm going blind. It's for real. That happened Friday night. If you want to talk grief, here, over 30 concussions. I do lose my place sometimes. There are times during the night I'll get up to go to the bathroom and I forget how the room is lined up. Where is the furniture? When I stand up, where are the doors? I've totally lost my bearings.
Right.
Watching I've had a chance to talk with the doctors, but the movie Concussion that stars Will Smith, he stars as Dr. Ben Amalu, and CTE. I've talked with them, and I've talked with Boston University, and the protein that the CTE, that the brain injury leaks out, is called tau. When it hits parts of your brain like really does, it just hardens like concrete.
Right.
No blood. That's going to be that part of your brain has died. Well, the reason so many people die from concussions is because our brain has a part that controls impulses and self-harm.
Right.
If that protein ever hits that part of my brain, I won't hurt other people, but I will probably end up ending my own life because I don't understand exactly what I'm doing.
Right.
And that impulse will be, and that self-preservation, it won't be there. Now, I've got a choice. Am I going to let that grief tear me down to where I'm nothing but an invalid? Or the spiritual miracles that have happened. My son was dying in Dallas, and doctors called us and told us it was a miracle that he had lost all the platelets in his blood. He was dying. They called us several months later, said somehow or other the platelets suddenly appeared. Millions and millions of platelets.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
You know, I've taken an axe, hit a tree, and yelled, damn it, every time I hit the tree. God doesn't say it's a sin to be angry.
Right.
All of us have reasons to be angry.
Yeah.
But what I implore, what I beg of the audience today is see the love we have and understand that love is available for you. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be the big bad person all the time.
Man,
it's okay.
Yeah. I love that. Because of the simple fact of you hit it on the head. And the same thing that you just said, I want to just reiterate on that. Not everything you have to fight. Not everything in life is a fight. You can
Amen.
have life in its life if that's what you want, right? But you have to make the choice to do it. And you have to put in the work to change your mindset. You have to put in the work to heal and things like that. But there's people like, yourself and me and so many others like us that are willing to walk with you in your moments of confusion and darkness. So you don't have to struggle the way that we did, right? And that's the reason why we talk the way that we do, because we have that lived experience. We struggled. And you're right. Judging by society, you and I, should we turn each other down or this, that, and another? But look, man, you know what I'm saying? The only difference between you and me, you know what I'm saying, is that you in a different state.
That's right. You get a tan better than me. I mean,
Hey,
other than that.
that's okay too. You're right.
And
You
I'm
know what I'm
envious. I'm telling you that. I could have made a lot more money in wrestling with your tan.
saying? But you know what it was though? I'm
What?
tell you what it was. This is my little secret. It's that Hawaiian gold that I started.
Mm.
Yeah. I started putting that on, going out into the sun. Voila, here it is, right? You know what I'm saying? I was like, shoot, I got that tan. I
It
got that
works.
tan. I started using that. It was golden. Yes. So just FYI, just putting it out there like that. You know what I'm saying? You want that Hawaiian gold? Go ahead and get that
Well,
Hawaiian gold.
I knew I shouldn't have bought the Casper the Friendly Ghost because it's all white.
That one don't work. See, the little Casper and Ghost trying to get a tan does not work, brother. It does not work. You gotta get that Hawaiian gold, man. No, man, it's nothing but love and respect. And like I said, people are going to see a lot more of us. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that we're going to talk about and see what we can do to make this thing happen across the globe, right? Sharing the love, sharing the positivity, and giving people hope. So just a little FYI, you know what I'm saying? After me and Mark talk, we're going to come up with this thing. But you know, as we begin to wrap it up, brother, I always ask my guests if you could leave the audience with something, what would you give them today?
Love.
Yeah.
Love.
Mm.
And I mean, I'm going to show you what the book looks like.
Yeah.
And this is our Facebook page and all that. The reason I'm showing you this is because I've got my x-rays, believe it or not, all the transplants, all the new joints. I've got everything on there. You'll see our family. You'll see that we're real. And if you want to shoot me a message or friend me or anything like that, you can. Or my email is M as in Mark, B as in Brenda, J as in Jessica, A as in Ashley, A as in Austin, S as in Smith at gmail.com. MBJAAS at gmail.com. What I want to leave you with, folks, y'all are loved. You're not forgotten. This is the reason why we're on here.
Yeah.
And we just ask you to please try to accept the love. And you don't have to go through things alone. Tony, I think that's what I really want to leave them with.
I love that, man. You already got the other part out the way by giving out your information, and plus that information is in the description as well. So people, wow, man, people go and support him. Go and get that.
Well, thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Email him. Email me, man. Let's make some things happen. Let's get some positive movements going in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to walk this thing alone. And also, for you guys who will be tuning in later, do me a favor. If you enjoy these conversations, if you laughed and, you know what I'm saying, got the goosebumps and, went on this journey with us and it did something to you, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified every time we drop a new episode. But also leave us, share a comment on there, tell us what you think. But if you know anybody who can benefit from these conversations that we have, please by all means share it with them. Mark, thank you for being on today, man. Thank you for the laugh. Thank you for the journey. Thank you for the love and respect, man. And that's totally received. And I give it back to you as well, and to the audience. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, you know what I'm saying? You guys keep your head up, keep the love going. And we will see you in the next episode. You guys take care. Peace.